We don't need a Nightwing movie right now. Consider me wearing the sweatshirt and the hat my way of saying, yes, I'm a fan, yes, I would love to see a Nightwing movie, but not at the moment. Here's a story you've already heard a million times. Despite doing pretty well financially, the three films in Warner Brothers' big DC cinematic universe aren't exactly the most liked movies on the planet. Warner Brothers is still moving forward with their lineup, but I'll give them this, it does look like they're trying to turn things around. Wonder Woman looks really good, Justice League at least looks fun, and hey, Geoff Johns is now running things. But that still doesn't change the fact that essentially the WB is playing damage control. Back when they first announced the DC Cinematic Universe, this was after Man of Steel but before Batman vs. Superman, Warner Brothers committed to 9 films. These 9. Of them, 2 have come out and have gotten pretty bad reviews. And look, I know a lot of you out there really like these movies, but guys, you can't keep a long-running franchise going with these kind of Rotten Tomatoes scores. These are Friday the 13th scores, and these characters deserve better than that. And their upcoming films are surrounded with behind-the-scenes controversies. Whistleblowers are saying that Wonder Woman is apparently a disaster. Ben Affleck wants to leave Batman, maybe. The Flash lost 2 directors and is getting a complete rewrite from scratch. None of this is particularly good for Warner Brothers. So what should they do to make sure that their 7 remaining films get released and in some sort of a watchable state? Apparently, if you're Warner Brothers, then the answer is to throw more films at us. Seriously, it seems like every other week they just keep adding movies to the cinematic universe and they're not even halfway done with their original lineup yet. First, there was the Batman solo film that Ben Affleck was supposed to direct but is now being directed by Matt Reeves. Then there was Justice League Dark, which was supposed to be done by Guillermo del Toro and now is being done by Doug Liman. Side note, leave a comment down below if you're a fan of Justice League Dark and why you think this should be a movie. As far as I remember, the comic wasn't great and everything I've heard about the animated movie they just released is worse. And then after Suicide Squad came out, not only did they announce a Deadshot solo film, because sure, but also a Gotham City Sirens movie. And of course, Suicide Squad 2, which Mel Gibson is being courted to direct. Don't need to tell you why that's strange. There's a Lobo movie in the works. Now, granted, this has been floating around for at least 20 years, I think, but they mean it this time. There's a Black Adam movie announced. The Shazam movie isn't coming out for another couple of years, but I guess you gotta give The Rock something to do in between all those Fast and Furious movies. Another solo Superman movie is in the works, and last week, Chris McKay, the director of the Lego Batman movie, was announced to be the director to the upcoming solo Nightwing movie. Warner Brothers, what are you doing? Why do you keep announcing movies to a franchise that you're having a lot of problems with already? After Batman vs. Superman came out, you scrambled to try to fix what you thought were the perceived problems of Suicide Squad, only to wind up making that movie worse. Now, to Warner Brothers' credit, they are trying to fix things. Like I said, Justice League looks a lot more fun than its predecessors, and they did invite the press on set to see how things are progressing. And again, putting Geoff Johns in charge of things always seems to help matters. Look at Rebirth. Also, I should clarify that this isn't necessarily a Warner Brothers problem. I know I pick on them a lot, but that's because they're dealing with DC Comics, and I love me some DC Comics, but this is a greater problem in the big budget blockbuster world of Hollywood. Universal has announced a whole bunch of films for their Universal Monsters revival, even though The Mummy isn't out yet and it doesn't look good. Hasbro is getting a cinematic universe through Paramount, even though the Transformers movies are all pretty bad. Even Disney and Lucasfilm are guilty of this. They announced the anthology Star Wars movies before they announced anything about Episode 7. The point I'm trying to make is Warner Brothers, like all major movie studios, are currently caught in the trend of franchise building for the sake of catching up with Marvel, announcing sequel after sequel before the first movie even comes out and is even liked. Even 10 years ago, it used to be if a movie came out that was supposed to launch a franchise but got bad reviews, they wouldn't move forward with the franchise until they figured out how to fix things. Even if the films were box office hits, both X-Men 3 and Spider-Man 3 made a lot of money, but Fox nor Sony moved forward with the sequels until they figured out how to fix all the negative criticism that those movies came with. Now, it's true that sometimes this works, and sometimes it doesn't. But the point I'm trying to make is you can't just keep announcing sequels and making sequels to movies that people don't like. People's receptions of movie sequels decline over time. That's just the way it happens. They get worse and worse as things go on, even the best movie franchises. But when things start really low in a franchise, excitement can drop off much quicker than if it started really high. And I want Warner Brothers to get the films they already have on the docket right before they start moving on to other DC characters, especially Nightwing. Batman and Superman can survive bad movies. Their iconic status has shown that they can transcend bad movies. Someone like Nightwing, who doesn't have the same cachet in the public eye, can't really afford to have a bad movie right now. If his movie isn't well received, it could damage the character's reputation in the greater pop culture mindscape. I mean, look what happened to Daredevil. Before the Netflix series came out, everyone associated with the bad Ben Affleck movie. He was a joke of a character to people who didn't read comics. Do you want that for Dick Grayson? Plus, screw him up and it will be a long time before we see sidekicks on the big screen in any meaningful way again. Unless he factors into the Batman movie in some way, I'm okay with waiting for a solo Nightwing movie, at least until Warner Brothers can show us that they can put out good films. I don't even need great films, just good films. And maybe wait until after Justice League before you start announcing new movies. Or hell, wait until after Aquaman, because trust me, he needs more help looking cool than Nightwing does. But what do you guys think about the Nightwing solo movie? Do you think it's a good idea, or do you think Warner Brothers should cool it with all these announcements? Let me know down below or anywhere on the internet. And for the record, I like the Friday the 13th series, but I've admitted to myself a long time ago that there's maybe one good film out of the 11 or 12 that are there. Also, the Halloween movies are better than Friday the 13th. That's just science. New videos every Tuesday and Wednesday night at 9 p.m. Eastern. Wulff Den Live, the live YouTube show where you can watch us and talk to us at the same time. If you don't want to watch us and talk to us at the same time, you can catch the archived version on Thursday on YouTube and in audio format on iTunes, SoundCloud, and Google Play. And as always, like if you like, subscribe if you really like, share this video with a friend. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you next time.